guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my design team project for G's Embellishment Emporium. So today we're going to be working with some wood and specifically Christmas trees. And I have received these in my kit. There are MDF Christmas trees and they come in 3 different sizes and you can find them at G's Embellishment Emporium. And so I've already done the large one and I wanted to show you what I created. So, before I show you, let me just tell you what you're going to need. Of course, you're going to need the set of trees. And then I use this Artist Loft deep green acrylic paint. And then I also use some metallic gold paint. And I used some clear ink. Now, instead of using my ink pad, which is really would be difficult to use, I just used the refill for my clear ink. And I also used some gold embossing powder. And I used some Snow Tex. And you may want to have a palette knife, which you can also find those at G's Embellishment Emporium. And, of course, some paintbrushes. So, let me show you what I created. This is the Christmas tree that I did. Whoops, I don't know that you can see it. Let me lay it down a little bit. So I actually painted it and I created a lot of texture just from some brush techniques and stuff. And then as you can see, the star is gold. Whoops, let me slide it in frame. It's gold and that's where the embossing powder came in. And then I used the Snow Tex on the sides and the front. So let me show you how I did it. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to use the little tree. And the first thing I did was to tape off the little star part of it because I don't want to get green tape on my star, green paint on my star. And so I will do that on both sides. When I paint the other side, I'll tape it up too. So I'm just going to use this brush right here, and this is a 3/4 inch wash brush, but it works so well on this. And I'm just going to squirt a little bit of green paint here on my board. And so the first thing I'm going to do is just paint it. Well, actually, you know what? No, the first thing I'm going to go ahead and tape up this other side. That way I can continue to go all the way around it. Okay. Because I like to hold on to the star tip. It makes it easier to... So the first thing we're just going to do is just paint. And if you notice, I'm trying to use my brush strokes so that they go from the center to in to out like this. And that's just going to help you build up your paint texture. And it gives it a more natural look for the trees. Okay. And then I'm just going to do the sides here. And just very carefully go up under here where the star is. Okay, I'm just going to continue painting this. Okay, so I'm finished painting our tree. And I'm just going to real quickly run the heat gun over it just for a couple of seconds. It doesn't need to be all the way dry. I actually would prefer that it wasn't. And I saw a little spot that I missed. Okay, I'm just going to go back over these edges right here, just where the paint came over from the sides, because you don't want that big lump there. Okay, so now how I created the texture with my trees is I tap my brush directly into the paint just to get it on the edge. And then I just sort of tap the lines on the tree. Basically how you would do, you know how you would think a tree shape would be. The boughs or whatever. I think that's what they're called. Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what I'm doing, just creating some extra lines. Now, what I'm going to do is to heat set this for a second. Sorry, it may be out of frame. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush and try to get most of the paint off of it. And then I'm going to lightly go over where the brush was, where the paint, in the direction that I went over it. So it's kind of dry brushing it. Can you see the texture in it? I'm not sure if you can. And then, while that's drying, let me do it more. I will go back over it one more time in the opposite direction. So what you're actually doing is just laying paint down on the tree itself, and it just creates some texture because you're not necessarily smoothing it all out. So it looks like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just going to take my brush, load it up, and then try to create some natural bough shapes. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. Just get some of the paint off my brush and lightly brush over the lines. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the opposite direction. But I am going to just draw it a couple more seconds. Okay, so that's done. Now the next thing we're going to do is the star, but this needs to dry. So I've already painted another one. This is the middle size one, and you can see, I don't know if you can see the texture or not, but it really gives it some nice texture, and it makes it more dimensional, I think, with the paint. So what we're going to do now is the star. So what I'm going to do is take some painter's tape, and I'm just going to stick it to my hand a little bit, just to get some of that oil so it's not quite so sticky. And I am going to put this down here over it so that it doesn't get on my tree. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to paint this over with some gold paint, but just barely dry brush it on there. And I'm going to have to use my heat gun, so forgive me. Okay, so I'm going to dry this with the heat gun on the star, and I'll be right back. Okay, now that this is dry, I'm going to emboss the star part. Now what I'm going to do is take this little ink here. It is a little messy, but it's a really nice effect. And I just put a couple of drops on here. Okay. And I'm just going to use the best tool I have and use my finger to spread the ink out. Now, it is important that you emboss this with ink and not just the paint. I did the paint on the large star, and I had to go redo it with ink because it just wouldn't hold. Now we're going to heat set this. Okie dokie. And I'm going to let that cool just for a minute so it hardens without touching it. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing to this side. And it is sticky, but it does work. I'm in love with using embossing powders for things that, you know, you don't typically think you can emboss, but you can. I just want to make sure I get enough of this on here. Okay. And this is the Brutus Monroe embossing powder, by the way. Okay, one more time. It does take just a little longer on wood to emboss, but it does work. Okie dokie. Okay, that is done. We can take our tape off now. Okay, so now we're going to let this dry for a few minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is dry. So the next step is to get the snow on. And so I'm going to be using the snow text for that. Let me move this paintbrush out of the way. Put the lid on my glue. Now, this is messy. I'm just going to tell you right off, it's messy. But what I'm using is a plastic knife and, well, it's paint tool. And then I'm also using another wash brush that I have to smooth it on. So basically, I'm going to start at the top. And I'm just going to get a spatula, this spatula here, and I'm just going to put some on. Like I said, this is a real, the hardest part to it is shaping the snow. Excuse me. So then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to brush some of it on here. And then I'm going to start shaping where I want it to be. And basically, you want to do this kind of in a tapping motion. And it's okay if it hangs off the edges. I think it makes it look more realistic. So I'm just going to pat it down like that. Excuse me. Got a tickle in my throat. Just going to keep patting it down, bringing it down. Can you see how that hangs off the edge over there? That's what I want. I want it to look like the snow has fallen and is sliding down the branches. And it's leaving the trail behind. So this is not, it's just very lightly put on. And so then I'm just going to bring it around the edges very lightly. Because I don't want to take all this detail away either. just going to pat once again. There's really no right or wrong way because, I mean, you know, it doesn't snow the same. I'm just going to build this up a little bit here and bring it down, tap it down. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other branches. And mainly I want it concentrated most at the bottom of the, like where it's supposed to be the branch. Okay, I'm going to do this one on camera, and then I'm going to finish doing the sides, and I'll be back. Okay guys, so this is how my little tree turned out. It's done now. This one with the snow, and I like the way the snow is kind of hanging off of it. And I'll just lay it down gently for you and show you the big one again. And then I went ahead and just finished the little one while I was waiting for the other one to dry. So this is very easy to do, and they look really pretty. I like the way the texture is on them. But they're not quite finished because I have a project for these in mind. But I wanted to show you the trees before I did the project. So you can pick these up at G's Embellishment Emporium. And of course, the link will be below in the description box. So please head on over there. Now his Christmas stuff is selling out pretty fast. So you don't want to miss some Christmas items that you can get there. He has some really, really nice stuff. So go on, head over there and check him out. And then stay tuned for part 2 of the snow Christmas trees. Alright guys, have a rest of the beautiful week. And I will talk to you later. Bye.